Planning a trip to Portugal? Whether you're exploring Lisbon, surfing in Ericeira, or road tripping through the Alentejo, staying connected is essential. I use Airalo every time I travel, even on some surfboat trips, adventures to the Maldives. So when we connected to collaborate, I was really genuinely happy. Airalo's eSIMs give you instant data the moment you land in a foreign country. No queues, no physical SIM cards, just seamless, reliable coverage. Travel smarter, stay connected, download Airalo before your next adventure. Follow this link in the show notes to get connected today. This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by Flow Sports. If you're into jiu-jitsu, wrestling, rugby, cycling, basketball, and many more sports, Flow Sports have you covered. Stream live events, watch exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and dive into a world of top-tier sports coverage, all on one app. Don't miss a moment. Tap the link in the show notes to start watching with Flow Sports today. Justin West from Podcast Portugal. Today, we look into the meeting point between surfing, heritage, and coastal life with anthropology. I needed to do we were talking about doing voice warm-ups, and some words just tripped me up. Anthropologist Vera Azevedo. Vera completed her PhD with the thesis Surfers and Fishermen, Heritage, Work and Sport in Ericeira. She explored how surfing has reshaped traditional fishing villages and contributed to sort of new ways of living by the sea. Her research examines coastal communities and how they adapt to surfing and how this sort of transforms social and even cultural identity from work and leisure to heritage and belonging. She's a fascinating character, and beyond academia, she's also a storyteller and documentarian of Portuguese surf culture through her project Sal e Filhos, Gerações de Surf em Portugal. So I translate that a little bit, if I'm correct. It's Salt Sons of Salt, maybe, a generation of surf in Portugal. And she's also got some connections to the Surf Museum of Portugal, or part of the team. I think so, right? Let's hope. Let's get a Surf Museum of Portugal. It'd be fantastic. Vera, a big welcome to you. And my first question is a little bit, you could talk a little bit about what got you into surfing and this topic, and what inspired you to study this intersection between surfers and fishermen in Ericeira?
Yeah. Hi, Justin. Thank you for having me in your podcast. It's
very welcome.
Very nice. And let's start from the beginning a little bit, because when I was 40, it was a long time ago, I started surfing. So my life changed a little bit, and my interests too. I was in an academy. I was studying Mozambican theater in the era of post-colonialism, and after I've done my master degree in that subject. But after that, after starting to surf, and as you know, surf changed all our lives. So when it comes the time to do the PhD degree, I start to wonder if because I saw all the fishing communities are being transformed by the surfing and the surf boom in Portugal. And it was really, really nice to observe and analyze what is happening, why these fishing communities and these identities are being transformed by the surf practice. So it was in that moment because of Nazaré, Peniche, Ericeira in the same way, even in Costa de Caparica, where I live. So I had these four locals to analyze, but well, my it was impossible to do it all, and we in the academic, when it comes the time to choose what local it will be more suitable, we choose Ericeira. Why? Because Ericeira has World Surfing Reserve, and he's in a process of really transformation because of that. So uh, it was where everything began in my research, and Ericeira was in a big process with many issues about conservation, about social transformation, even economic development, and it was in that way that I chose the village of Ericeira to do my research.
Beautiful. It is a beautiful town, and maybe perhaps because many people probably listening to this wouldn't have visited Ericeira, so it might be a nice thing to sort of describe. What was it like in the time before surf, and we can then sort of say,
in my research, I talk about with a lot of people, fishermen, surfers. It was a research during 18 months, sorry, and it was with lot of talk, a lot of research, lot of visual research too, and with photographs, documents, and so on. And it's really different from the moment I start the research in 2017. So, well, it's a big transformation because it was one of the places that has one of the most powerful wave in Portugal. It was a really small community of surfers that are there in the 80s and in the 90s, and then something began to change, and even the interest of the mayor to develop the surfing, the village through the surfing.
I'm trying to sort of get a vision because I know Ericeira from how it is in the last 5 years, and I'm trying to picture it. Rita's told me stories about why people would visit Ericeira sort of 50 years ago or 100 years ago.
During my research, I realized that Ericeira was really, really very known abroad. Even the Australian surfers knows that there is a good big wave in Ericeira, and they come to Ericeira because they know that there is a wave. Especially the North Americans, they do the peripheral through France, and then through France to Morocco, and then they stop in Ericeira because they know that there is a wave, a good wave there. And in the 70s and 80s, there are a lot of foreign surfers in Ericeira, and it starts to well, what are they doing here? Well, they surf this wave. The local people started to surf the waves, and even people from neighbor localities like Cascais, the Estoril, Sintra. They start to surf in Ericeira. And then it was slowly, and it's mixtures. It's mixture also with the development of the surf industry. So it starts to grow, and very many people move to Ericeira to only surf and make small business that nowadays are big business in Ericeira, the surfing business. Yeah.
And the primary industry there, I'm assuming, was fishing, and it must have been a difficult place to fish simply because of the surf conditions in that
Yeah.
area, and I think there isn't much protection from the
Yeah. Yeah.
ocean. So and there isn't a beach like you would have in Costa Caparica where you could launch up and down the sand. So what were they fishing there? And maybe it was bigger boats. And I'm guessing that is the primary industry there.
Yeah, it was. Ericeira has a fishing identity for
Mm,
sure, and it's known for that. The 18th century. So it was a really fishing port
mm,
with really matters in the fishing. Sorry, in this fishing industry in Portugal in
mm,
that time, and it's really important. But all changed through the time, and the conditions are really difficult. And even at that time, the port conditions, the fishing port conditions, they are always reconstructed. The fishing port during the period of the 90s, the fishing industry was dismantled because the entry of Portugal in European community. So that was a problem for Ericeira. The fishing industry, it's nowadays like then.
Is that's because the joining the European Union, we suddenly have a few extra regulations to abide
Yeah,
by. Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
And that reduced the fishing fleet in
exactly,
Ericeira to 10 boats.
yeah,
Wow, okay.
yeah. The fleets, exactly. And in every place, but in Ericeira, it was really drastic. The numbers, and you can see the numbers, and it was a really cut. But they are resilient, and they keep being there. They are in the active. They are 10 fishing boats nowadays, but they keep going. And because of that fishing identity is so strong in Ericeira at the same time. And that is the ambivalent thing, because Ericeira is being transformed by the surfing culture and the surfing practice. But at the same time, it keeps the fishing identity. And my research is about how they manage these two things, and how they interpret one another, and how they resist and combat one another in the certain way. How the governmentally deal with these two things, and what is more important to the economic development, surfing or fishing, and keep the fishing identity, but at the same time we have to develop the village through the surfing. And this contradiction and this ambivalence that is in my thesis and now in my book.
Ah, nice. Yeah. Okay. We're definitely going to leave that link out. I must apologize to Vera. During our podcast interview, I completely forgot to make sure we make awareness of her book that she's written. It's a really fantastic book, and I really recommend it. And it's called "The Impact of Surf on the sort of areas of the ocean, or the users of the ocean in Ericeira." It is in Portuguese at the moment. Hopefully it will be available or translatable anyway. But I thoroughly recommend it. It's a very interesting read, especially as a surfer and a responsible user of the ocean. It's interesting to understand a little bit about your impact on the local community. Now, to follow Vera, many of the other different things that she does, I would recommend going to her Instagram, and that's Vera _dot_ Azevedo, spelt Azevedo. I would follow Vera on Instagram and then you can scroll down, and in the links section there, There is access to all the different things that she does, her books, her CV, and also the website that we talked about a little bit before, the Brothers of Salt. Interesting thing, I've been involved with surfing from teen years, so um, I've experienced the ups and downs of the industry, and also I've read because where I sort of grew up surfing, we had absolutely no information and no resources, nothing. We had a few maybe cassettes that were handed down, and a few. I don't think it was even possible to get surf magazines very easily in those days. And so all our information just sort of came from either surf magazines or from books. And I used to really like reading books from some of the old surfers like Jeff Hackman. You could see in the 60s, we're talking similar things that happened in Ericeira. In California, in Malibu, there was suddenly a couple of films that came out like Gidget, and it sort of had this sort of surf identity, and it sort of exploded in Malibu. And then you have Mickey Dorter and a few other the sort of local guys there going, "Hey, what's going on? This is crazy." Suddenly, surfing went from an activity of something to do to a lifestyle and to a fashion. I still wrestle with that whole thing now because for me personally, as a coach, for me it's like tennis, uh, basketball, surfing. I for me see it as a sport, and I understand what happens is when you have something that's very popular like a sport, you'll see that the brands come in and the industry comes in because they think, this is an interesting sport. Um, let's make a lifestyle brand out of it, and we can sell products off the back of a sport, and I can fully understand it. And my question is, I guess, is like, what comes first? Does the when the brands come in there, does the culture come first, or does the
Yeah, the culture come first,
yeah
and it was small communities. Well, it starts in Hawaii, says
yeah
the surfing historians, but yeah, it was after Hawaii and all the colonialism stuff, and they are very peremptory about the colonialism of surfing culture. And it starts in small communities. After that, in the California and even Australia, they import the thing. But after, well, they are small communities, marginalized, and
mm,
the surfers are marginalized from the mainstream society. So
hmm
after that, well, the small surfing industry that is very connected to the to the surfers, because surfers made her own boards.
yeah
So it starts like that, they made their own board, but it keeps the interesting of other surfers that don't have the skills. So they start to make boards for the other surfers, and it starts like that. That
hmm
a small industry. And after that, well, it was so popular in the 50s, and yeah, because the in the 15s it was a big, really boom in California, with
mm,
even Elvis Presley with the in the Hawaii surfing and so on.
hmm
And then it was the counterculture in the 60s, and that's where it was when it starts the surfing industry. It was it it has started in the 50s in the certain way with films and all that, but not the surfing industry. The materials like this and the
mm,
brands, and after the counterculture, it was a reaction, I think, with
mm,
the name the Soul Surfers, and
hmm
after that, it was the surfing industry that appropriate the soul surfers and
yeah
the lifestyle, and it sells to all the world
Yeah.
in the clothes, materials, and a lifestyle that it was pursuing the freedom, and it was like that. It was sold like that, a lifestyle that is freedom, and it is like that nowadays, and but at a certain point it was not so democratized because well, materials are not cheap. So after that, when the real big brands becoming to doing the old materials in mass production,
Mhm.
it was really, really, really the big boom of surfing. And nowadays, everyone surfs and
Hmm.
everyone wants to try it. And
Mhm.
it's okay. It's really good.
Yeah.
And you have a really big mass surf tourism. And what
Mm.
is what happened to Ericeira, it's that it's economic development through the surf tourism. And well, it was really nice to the people that are develop small business, but it is a small village, so it is very
Impactful.
impactful and very
Mm.
pressure over the even the beaches, so the beaches. So that was a problem, and it at the same time it is a world surfing reserve, and you have issues of conservations to cross with all this massification and surf tourism. And it was on one of my
Yeah.
research points to, yeah.
Yeah. Actually it's a kind of economic warning as well. If we look back at the
Mhm.
history, we need people like you looking back at the history of surfing to say, okay, this has happened in the past, and this is potentially could happen in the future. Now I know in California in the late 60s and 70s, like the surfing industry just tanked. There was surf shops
Yeah.
closing all over the place, and and a lot of people suffered as a result. And that pattern, I think in the 80s as well, like
Mm.
surfing had a little bit of a dark period.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I think I don't know, it's how from a political almost and from
mm,
an economic point of view, how do you regulate something?
mm.
Like you have a lot of passionate surfers that want to teach surfing, and they want to coach surfing, and they want to teach as many people as they can to make it sustainable so that they can feed their families.
Exactly.
Um, but then how do you say to them, okay, you can only teach 25 people
Yeah.
per day. Thank you very much. Because if you teach more and this guy teaches more, and you're going to actually ruin your own
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, that's the problem. It was the problem in Ericeira because uh, in a moment, the thing it was, okay, let's develop this and let's do everything we can about surfing tourism, and after, uh, s- yeah, this is too much. We have to regulate the thing. So you give expectations of life to the people, and that's a problem of governmentally, and the regulation comes from the beginning, because when you have a world surfing reserve and you don't work to um, construct the thing in three pillars, that was the social, economic, and environmental pillar. I don't know if pillar,
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
yeah,
pillars. Yeah.
yeah, you and you start the thing only with the economic development. After that, it's really, really tough to regulate. After Well, the regulation, it comes in the beginning, not
Yeah.
after. And it was the problem in Ericeira. It was like that. People get many expectations. The World Surfing Reserve it was a call for many foreigners that that began our own business there. And in a moment you have, well, I have too much pressure in Ericeira. How to deal it? Let's go regulate. No, and that's the case you mentioned. So now you only can have surf lessons two times a day, and and people, yeah, but I construct a life that it was really like that, and now I have. So it is complicated, and it was many struggles the between the local surf industry, the local surfers, and the local government. So it was a really negotiating period.
I can imagine a lot
Yeah.
of people won't even really understand.
Yeah,
They wouldn't understand the difference between surfing a wave and surfing in the white water, like where surf schools would be. And
exactly,
it's like even trying to communicate those basic
exactly.
differences in and
Yeah,
different needs of the different people. You know, the locals wanting to surf out the back, they don't want a surf school in the lineup at Cautious. You know.
exactly. And Ericeira has a specific characteristics. Ericeira is not the ideal uh, surf surf points to surf breaks to to
To
initiate
teach, yeah, for
to
sure.
teach
It's very rocky with
it
lots of
is
urchins.
exactly. So it's not it's a really good place for intermediate and advanced surfers, you know. And I don't know, in the beginning, if all these it was a thing about okay, surf tourism, but a really uh, specific surf tourism, you know, not mass tourism, for the people that want to experience the first time surfing, you know. And but it's okay. It's how you can, but you have that everywhere. Even I was traveling the last years for to Australia, to California, and I observed that you have the surf schools for the first experience of surfing everywhere, you know. So it's not only a problem in Portugal. Portugal, it was 10 years maybe later than the other places, but this surfing boom with the first experience, you know, the first surfing experience, it is all over the world nowadays, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but but there is a big difference that I observe in all that places in the world, because you have big beach, big coastal,
Yeah, yeah.
areas. So Ericeira is very specific. It's very small coastal area. So it's a big problem.
Yeah, I can actually, now you're talking about that, I can actually envisage if we could go back in time and we could make a little bit of a plan.
Exactly.
Perhaps Ericeira would have been. You could almost write it into the rules of the surfing reserve that it's free of of
E-
beginners, because it's. I
exactly.
mean, you know, it's hard for me to say this because we know people. We all know people who have surf schools there, but it's not the easiest place to teach surfing when you have the conditions on reef, you know.
Yeah,
So, but there are beaches there where other surf schools do go.
exactly.
So I can, but it would have been quite nice to have made it into a special reserve, reserved for that, like you're saying, sort of intermediates
Yeah,
and advanced, and maybe we could have sort of worked in the economics with surf guides and surf coaches who actually go sit out with them or video from the beach um,
exactly. Yeah,
and then sort of said, well, this is a surfing map of Portugal. Let's not give away all the good spots, but if you want to have an introduction or you have a bucket list and you want to tick surfing off your list, and you want to try it out, then perhaps maybe Amado or somewhere in the south coast, or would be appropriate, or on Costa Caparica and Fonte Tertelli or something like this, where the beach is appropriate and, you get the vibe. And then we could have had other areas of Portugal. Parts of Peniche is another good example.
It's a problem too. Peniche.
Yeah,
There's lots of
now we're
pressure,
getting to another problem where we have a lot of intermediates, because
Yeah.
look, I think I calculated in the Algarve once upon a time, when we had the licensing system, which was 30 surf schools, I think it was 30 students per day over the summer. And so I was calculating that there was like 900 students
Yeah.
per day.
It's
And then I was thinking, where do they all go? They have one lesson or maybe 2 or 3 lessons, and then where do they go? And the worst case scenario is they take 3 lessons, okay, from absolute beginner, rent a piece of surf equipment, paddle out in 6 foot or 2 meters Amado, and somehow get out through the channel or get sucked out through the rib, and then they're in trouble. So luckily, in Portugal, we haven't had too many disasters like that, but
yeah,
there is a potential.
it's interesting because you don't have there is no report of great disasters in Ericeira. I don't know how,
Yeah.
but I think they are very carefully about that. I think you don't have any report, and in that time, I remember to ask the surf school owners, but this is a little bit dangerous for the first surfing experience, but we have all the care, all care about that. There is no report of any disaster. You say, okay, but yeah. But it's really dangerous, and it is the problem. It was all the process of the World Surfing Reserve, because the beginning of the process, because all the old surfers from Ericeira, they know that big mass surf will come. So they try to protect the Ericeira's waves from that. But it was the reverse that happens,
Yeah.
It's very interesting to observe that. It was really in that thing that we have to protect our waves, the waves that we surf all the days, with an extraordinary environment, and we have to protect this. And then it comes the World Surfing Reserve. But the local government has another idea. So it was this clash, and
Okay.
it was a long process. And only now they are, after years of negotiating, only now the local government began to think about how can we do the whole thing, the 3 pillars, and to control all this massification. But now it's really hard to do with it. Because even because of the expectations of the people create about their own lives and their own business, small business, and it's really tough thing to do that.
It's a phenomenon. It's really difficult, and perhaps I think many were caught a little off guard of how popular. But for me, I still go to the beach, and I still don't really understand how many and where all these people come from, and how they manage to understand that you can go to a surf camp or a surf school, put on a wetsuit, and ride a foamy in the whitewater. It's for me, it's.
Well, it's a really.
I don't understand it. I'm saying it's amazing, and I'm loving that people want to do these experiences, but I can't understand the mechanics.
The mechanics is it's really through the surf tourism publicity. It was a really great investment in the Portugal tourism after McNamara. And after the Nazaré phenomenon, it was a really really intense promotion of Portugal as a surfing destination. And it was, I have done study about that. And it was a really, really, because you have the, the European laws become to see that coastal development through surfing, it is a really good idea.
Mm.
So, and after McNamara, you have a really, really strong promotion from Portugal tourism, the brand Portugal tourism. And after that, the local governments from Peniche, and you have another phenomenon, but because you have the big brands that are in the triangle Nazaré, Peniche, and Ericeira, and
Mhm.
they are located there. So you have the big brands are there. You have the big promotion of Portugal as a surfing destiny. So it was really a really big investment in promote
Mm.
Portugal. So, and if you Google places to surf to learn to surf, and in the internet, the thing the first thing that comes is Portugal. So
Mm.
it's really easy to someone that wants to experience surfing and is European, and well, it's not
It's
very
not too
far.
expensive. Yeah.
Why going to California or other places? Well, let's go to Portugal. So it starts like that, and
Mm.
it was a really, really big investment of millions,
You nearly said invasion. Investment, yeah.
Yeah, invasion investment. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was like that because in the in the beginning of 2000s and after the World Surfing Reserve, well, Portugal invests, as you know, in the tourism, surfing tourism or not surfing tourism, in the
Mm.
tourism. So it was in parallel with that, the boom tourism and the surfing tourism. The case of Ericeira, it was very particular because the World Surfing Reserve appears in every booklet of the surfing camps, the booklet of Câmara Municipal de Mafra, every booklet about patrimony. And
Mhm.
that you did. Okay, Mafra has a really, really nice patrimony. Well, the convent and the World Surfing Reserve,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that.
And I think also Peniche played a big part having the WCT event there. It was a huge success. They're going to build a new surf pool or park or whatever you call it. Now it's kind of controversial in some ways because it's going to be built in Óbidos, which is very near to Peniche. Now I was always a little bit dubious about wave pools, and from my perspective, coming from loving the ocean and the reason why I wanted to surf. But then, actually, from a coaching point of view, I'm doing so much online video analysis at the moment from clients in Switzerland, in Munich, in the Wave, and in Bristol. Um, and I'm seeing it's such a great tool for surf technique development. Um, but then on the flip side of that, it's really not a great tool for teaching ocean awareness and how to understand the etiquette and the lineup and how to understand even how to paddle out and to catch ocean waves in terms of positioning and the types of waves you're looking for, the types of conditions you're looking for. Um, Now, in terms of tourism, I can understand in many ways how it's a really great idea to build a surf park just inland from Peniche, which has some of the best waves in Portugal. Simply because it can take the heat off some of these areas. It can just divide the how many surfers are on one peak, which is very important. And I think that is a good thing. Now, it is a risk. Now, surf. I don't know how much people know about this, but surf pools, many of them have had a lot of financial problems. They're a huge investment, and there is several things I want to talk about surf pools. I'm sorry, Vede, I'm rambling a little bit, but one of the major things is, like, it's just the pure economics. Now, if you look at a surf pool or a wave in a surf pool, you can have one good surfer surfing the major peak out the back. So if you calculate that in terms of energy, you have a particular cost per energy. So one surfer pays, for example, in Switzerland, it's 160 Swiss francs, which is around about the same euros, for 10 waves. But the beauty about it is that same wave can teach 10 beginners on a bunch of whitewater on the inside, okay? And those 10 beginners are then not surfing in Peniche. They're not going on the waves. And so it would just spread the load a little bit and I see surf pools as a great place for teaching beginners, and even intermediates to paddle out back and to learn the etiquette and to have very strict rules. And, okay, this is how you paddle out. This is the lineup, and you go first, then you go first, and we don't all go on one wave. You understand? And I think it's a great opportunity to teach people, because education is the most important thing. And then for when they do go into the ocean, maybe they can book a surf guide or a coach or whatever to then go into that next step on how to get out, how to sit out the back, and how to read ocean waves. But I think it's going to be a fantastic tool. And I think we need to just raise a few alarms that if you're going to think that you're going to make a big profit from surfers, really good advanced surfers surfing out the back on a pool wave, you got to be careful. I think it's just the economics is just not there. The idea is there, but I think the money is in the whitewater on the inside on the surf pool. And from the discussion we're talking about as well, it helps in the overall protection of our beaches and our environment. So I don't know what the question was in there.
No problem.
I don't think there was one.
I can talk about that because
But do you see wave pools as being an answer to some of the surfing problems that we're talking about?
Yeah, it is one of the answers to the mass tourism, because I understood during my research that the surf schools and all the people that we see, the surf pressure in the coastal area, it was mainly because of it's not the initiates. They are not learn to surf to become surfers. They come in a weekend package with 2 or 3 lessons, and it's tourism. It's like tourism. Okay, I will try my
It's like a
first
kayaking
surf
tour or something.
experience. Yeah. So it was a small package with a surf camp and tool. That's the main thing, because of course you have a lot of people that nowadays want to surf and learn to surf and goes to intermediate and goes to advanced, and in 3 years they are surfers. So but it's not the case of these all mass tourism, so the surf pools are very, very fantastic for this kind, because this mass tourism, it's not well, the natural thing about the ocean, about the lineup, about the learn how to go to outside, about the surf etiquette, they don't need to be there, learn that concepts. It's only for fun and to have the experience of stand in a surfboard. So the surfing pools are fantastic for that, fantastic, and are fantastic for the competition and the competitors and the surfing, and they are fantastic for professional surfers. Well, you have the intermediate and you have the professional surfers, because the professional surfers don't have to learn that. And that is a really, really good machine to training the skills and the maneuvers and all of that. So the problem is, as you mentioned very well, it is the big investment, and there is not so much return. But I think in a years, it tends to lower the prices of the access, because well, it will be a big investment in tourism, but as there is more massification, um, the price is lower. I was researching the Edinburgh surf pool and the Bristol surf pool, and nowadays I don't know the really struggles that they have with the economic return, because you mentioned that, but it's not very absurd price. It's okay. No, it's not. Uh, uh, you have another, and I don't know the Switzerland, but you have another in Brazil that it's much more. The price is much more high. So yeah. Uh, so I think I think the surfing pools are very, very adequate to the beginners. Beginners, I mean, when I say beginners, it was the mass tourism that has the first experience, because it is sold like that, your first surfing experience. So it's really, really nice to avoid the pressure of the coastal area, and the professional surfers. For the intermediate surfer, okay, I think it is an experience that let's try, let's having some fun. Okay, there is in the winter there is no conditions to surf. Let's try. Let's surf some waves in the surf pool. Um, but yeah, it can dislocate the pressure to the interior. So yeah, maybe it is a big solution. Let's see how it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to see their studies. Yeah, I'd love to see their studies. I'd love to see what their marketing research on it, man. The one in Brazil is quite interesting, because I think the economic focus almost is on the rental properties, or the prop, because it's a property development with a pool, as opposed to some of the other ideas. It's more like a pool, and then you might have a little bit of somewhere to stay on the outskirts. So I think that.
Edinburgh has it is the same. It's a kind of well, it's a
Mhm.
property with a pool, and you have the
Yeah,
surf houses. Sorry, the big small
yeah, yeah,
houses, yeah, that you can stay and being there, and it's not so
yeah. I
absurd, the
didn't know there
price.
was one in
Yeah.
Edinburgh. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah, it
crazy.
is. It's
Yeah.
a new one. Joanna
Ah, yeah.
Schenker was there a few
Wow.
weeks ago. Yeah, yeah. Look at
It's actually another.
research
It's
them.
actually another point that I want to bring up, because you have Switzerland, you have Germany, you have Wales. There was one in Wales. I don't even know if that one exists anymore. Edinburgh, Bristol.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't know how much you know. Have you ever heard of somewhere called the Eden Project in Cornwall in the UK? I don't know. Basically, it's
yeah.
an old quarry. A quarry is where you mine tin. It's an old tin mine where you get metal out of the earth. Um, and it was a regenerative project, and they built these geodesic domes. So it looks like you're trying to terraform Mars. It's these massive domes which are plastic, and they absorb the sun's energy and the heat. And what they've done is, inside these geodesic domes, they've built different microclimates that exist on Earth. So they have a jungle with jungle and tropical plants and parakeets and birds and things like that. They create a desert. And this is all in the UK. They have waterfalls and everything. And these places are massive. And it's been a huge success. You know, you can take kids tours there to learn about plants and different environments. For me, I think the surf parks are missing a big trick. One of the big things for me is, like, I love to surf in shorts and I hate being cold, right? So why not make these surf pools in a massive geodesic dome? You can have palm trees. You could have a beach bar. You could have sand on the inside. You could go in there. You could have some ultraviolet light shooting vitamin D at everybody. Which in the northern climates, warm water, which and you could actually do it, like, particularly somewhere in Sweden or Iceland or something. They could heat the water through the ground, what a great place. What a great thing to do. They wouldn't have to fly to a foreign country and get sunburnt and all this kind of thing. They could actually go surf in a pair of shorts in a tropical environment, have a Mai Tai at the beach, and then walk out and be in -20. I don't know how much more expensive that would be to do, but I don't know.
It will be really expensive. But there is a thing in this surf travel. Surf travels are one of the peculiar thing in the surfing culture since the beginning. And the surf travels, nowadays we think about that in terms of environment, because advanced surf that surfs from since he was 20s and now he's 50. They do a lot of surf travel all over the world, and in terms of ecological step, it is really hard. So, but there is a thing about that, the traveling and go to warm waters and enjoy the paradise, and because you have that idea of paradise and the perfect wave and the pursuit of the perfect wave. It's because it's not only the perfect wave and the warm water, because California has warm water, and you go to Fiji, and everyone goes to Fiji or another places paradisiacal and lost in time. It's because of the culture that many surfers talk about that. It's not only about the wave. It's to be in another place with another culture, with another visions of the world, So if you invest in this kind of environments in your own country,
it's fake. It's fake. It's like dropping a pill or wearing some augmented reality goggles.
Exactly. It's really tricky for me as an anthropologist to think about.
Yeah. And that is actually, for me, why I feel I'm conflicted with my feelings about wave pools, because I feel like, for me, it doesn't give the whole feeling of surf, but it's good.
Yeah.
If that's your option and you need to train on something or whatever, it gives you a little bit of the surf, which is fine. But
I think the whole community, the surfing communities around the world, in the beginning, they are very like this. Even me, because I didn't see the picture, but the wave pool are the big idea is behind well, I was very like you, very well. This is not the same thing. It's not the ocean. Well, it's a pool.
Do we smell of chlorine?
It has chlorine. Yeah. So no, but I think the idea before all these investments, it was because uh, we all the big investors, they know that the surf tourism will be in the massification, and this is is another option to go back a little bit to the coastal pressure, because the thing that is more economical, profitable, more
Profitable.
the thing that is more the thing that is more profitable in the surf tourism is exactly uh, the surfing experience, the first surfing experience, and it's really really
Tell me about it.
profitable. So so the surf pools, it will be the future in that, you know. I believe nowadays. I believe that in the beginning, when we start to listen about that, I just, oh no, it's not the same thing. Why wave pools? But now I understand why wave pools.
I think it could be something for. I mean, what I understand is it's really cool. Because there was a lot of comments that I saw on Instagram. It's like, why build a wave pool near Peniche? Because you already have really good waves. And I was like, well, that's because you've already got a bunch of surfers that are going to Peniche or passing through Peniche, and it can be an added part of the experience. And in my thoughts on that, I was thinking, wow, what a cool place to have a wave pool near me in rural Alentejo, in near Beja. We have a lot of water in these big aqueducts. We have a lot of land. We have the warmth in most of the time. Yeah, it would be cool, and we have an airport. It would be a fantastic regeneration project for Beja. We're only an hour and a half from the Algarve, an hour and a half from Lisbon. And I think, that would be very cool for I can see it. It's a huge.
I think it can work in places like Alentejo, you know, that is a kind of desert environment now, but it is a place. That's why Kelly Slater constructed the face
Yes,
in
of course.
the first in the desert, because of that. Of course, it makes sense. Yeah, I know it doesn't make sense in Peniche or near Peniche, you know, but but at the same time, you have all
Maybe just to get the planning permissions.
city.
I can't imagine going to
Yeah,
Beja and say, "Hey, we're going to build a wave pool here." They'll be like, "What? You mean like you want to use the water
can be.
to feed
Yeah,
the olive farms?" No. We want people to
yeah.
surf on that water
What
before it goes to the olive farms. And they'll be like, "What?" So Peniche perhaps was more open to the concept even. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
But you have in Peniche, you have all the thing about city, you know. So even the athletes goes to the pool and training when they are there during the period. And it will be massive, I think, in Peniche, because people goes and know that it can. Well, oh, uh, Kelly Slater is in Albido. Let's go see Kelly Slater surfing. You
That
know.
would be cool. So it could be more of a spectator. Okay, it's interesting. I haven't thought about that because you could actually sell tickets for like a theater. I didn't even think of that potential. That's interesting.
Exactly. No, not as a theater, but as okay. Let's try, because they divide in the surf waves, in the wave pools. They divide the the sessions in intermediate, advanced. They have a day schedule, and you choose the schedule because the wave is different. Né? So for the intermediate and for the advanced, you adjust the wave. And so the wave garden system has this. You adjust the wave. So, and it could be the people goes there, buy the ticket, and knows that in the period, okay, this period is the advanced surfers. Let's watch. They
That's
go up
nice.
and then they do the
Nice.
beginner. So it
Mm.
can be managed like that.
But it's
Really
exciting stuff.
successful,
And
I
I
think.
think as people, I think this is a good message for everybody. We always must have our open mind, being creative, and look, even if you really don't agree with a surf pool, I think you should look at it and ask yourself, why don't I agree with it, and how we can, yeah,
That's
exactly.
my
And then you
case.
sort of, those questions are hard questions, you start to go over them in your head, and then you come up with different ideas, and I think that's what we should do, as not just about surfing, but in general.
Next week I will go to Ericeira
Hmm.
because they invited me because of the book. They
Hmm.
invited me to a round table.
Yeah.
Well, it will be tough because it was the ex mayor, Elder
Okay.
Suggestive. It will be there, and I
Yeah.
will debate with him. So
Hmm.
it will
Yeah.
be tough.
Yeah.
But it is the first promotional thing, you know.
Cool.
The book it will be only ready in the final of
Okay.
November, and the launch it will be in the first week of December.
Okay.
So it's
Because
better
it's a nice
if you want to
Christmas
put in
present
the
for
effort.
people, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. And it's in Portuguese, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is in
nice.
Portuguese. Maybe one day I could translate
No,
it, but
these days you just put it through an AI. You don't
you
even need to
know,
do nothing. You don't need to
yeah,
pay a translator anymore. I'm actually looking at the
yeah, Justin.
podcast.
But I want to close this cycle.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it was a long-term cycle. Even it's for 10 years that I'm doing all this, and
yeah.
I want to close this cycle. I want to go surf.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
write anymore.
yeah. I
I
understand.
want to close
Yeah,
this,
I
you
understand.
know.
No,
Yeah.
it's quite cool because with this with the podcast, I'm researching at the moment. Like I can, so for example, our episode we've just done, I will be able to put it through an AI, and it will clone our
Okay.
voices. So my voice will sound like my voice, but it'll be into 22 different languages. And your voice will sound like Vera. It will be translated back into Portuguese as well if you want. It will be translated into Icelandic and Russian and
Yeah, but if it's translated like my English, it will be a awful
I
Portuguese.
don't know. This is the this is the thing. It's going to be
No,
really interesting
no,
how whether
no.
you're going to listen to you yourself speaking in AI Portuguese, and you'll be thinking, "What am I talking about?" Yeah, we see.
Not this
Well, that's
interview.
it. And this is the interesting thing. It's like how, I'm not going to be able to check our translation into Russian. And I'm fascinated by the whole thing. But for me, to be able to reach another 22 languages would be really cool.
But don't put in Portuguese this interview, please.
Yeah,
Be allowed in
yeah. It'll be
Portuguese.
really funny. No, I'll send it to you and I'll send you a copy of in Portuguese, but it won't go online. We'll see how it works. Good, because it'd be good just to understand a little bit better how effective it is. Great.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Veda, so nice.
Right,
Take care.
Justin. Okay, thank you
Yeah,
very
take
much.
care. Ciao.
Take
Bye bye.
care. And I will be visiting you after all this process.
If you haven't already switched to Revolut, now is the perfect time. I use Revolut Personal to manage my everyday money, spending, saving, sending across borders. You can hold over 30 currencies, transfer internationally at great rates, and even earn daily interest on your savings. It's smart, fast, and used by more than 60 million people worldwide. And if you run a business, Revolut has even more powerful solutions. Revolut Business gives you a global account built for growth, multi-currency accounts, team cards, spending controls, international transfers, and easy ways to get paid. It's streamlined, affordable, and designed to scale with your business. Here's the best part. Sign up for Revolut Personal with my link below and join me on one of the most advanced money apps available. And if you're a founder or a business owner, use my Revolut Business referral link and get your first month with no subscription fees. Whether it's for your personal finances or your business, Revolut has you covered, all in one place.